Erev Tov Chaverim, I'm Stephen Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. Boycott Israel, that the name of Israel be no more. That's the title of our message this evening. But before getting into that, let me just let you guys know, those of you that saw our broadcast earlier about the Arab man that was screaming and shouting and cursing the Prophet Muhammad and was against the Islamic religion. I got 2 emails, maybe more. Right now I've got about 500 emails in my inbox that I have not been able to get to over the last few days. But 2 people, one in particular that listens to our broadcast on a regular basis, her husband speaks Arabic fluently, wrote me that he was not calling out the Prophet Muhammad, but rather Muhammad Orsi. And another person wrote me and said that the video was actually a hoax. Now, I cannot corroborate this information completely myself, but I have had 2 people write me about it. So we did move the video to private as a result of not knowing for sure what the man actually did say in the video. But anyway, until further notice, I'll leave it like that or we'll remove it altogether. We do not want to bring out anything that is inaccurate in what we're trying to report. Rest of our video itself, though, is accurate as far as Alberto Rivera and what he stated there about the Catholic Church. Full-heartedly stand behind it all the way. We may just edit out the first part of the video and repost it again, but I wanted to let you guys know I did get these 2 emails here. Anytime I see something that there may be a question, well, we're going to take that into serious consideration. Anyway, let's get right into this thing about Boycott Israel. And I actually titled that there, that the name of Israel be no more. And we are feeling the effects of the boycott of Israel right along with our Jewish brothers and sisters in the state of Israel, because YouTube is doing exactly that to us. Let me give you a good example of this. Every video that we monetize, for some reason now, is totally shut down, especially with the titles that we have. If you can see this on your screen, and maybe I can edit this in bigger for you guys so you can see it there on the screen as you're watching it there. This says, "Hi, Israeli News Live. Thanks for submitting your videos for monetization. We didn't approve your videos for monetization because the content in your videos or video details may not be advertiser friendly. If you believe the content in your video is advertiser friendly, you can request an additional review below," which in most cases, we're not given an additional review. They just say no. Let's just look at the names of these videos. Hamas fires rocket into southern Israel. Can't approve that, boy. No, I wouldn't want anybody to know that Hamas is doing something wrong. Update, teenage girl killed by Arab terrorist. Well, I didn't even say Palestinian in that one there, you know, but the girl was murdered by an Arabic person, a Palestinian in Israel, and we were just doing an update on the news. Well, that's not too advertiser friendly either, is it? Well, that's because all the companies are boycotting Israel. Update, a message to the Jewish people. Oh, how dare us even update a message to the Jewish people? That must be clearly against the boycott guidelines. Palestinian terrorist attacks a girl in her room. Of course, that was the original story for the one that was update, teenage girl killed by Arab terrorists. Notice to Israeli Jews. That was just an individual message to our own people. Every one of these were blocked. Interesting. But we go through this on a daily basis, and the only time you ever see a video with an advertisement is because we keep trying to dispute it. But I just noticed it reminds me of the mark of the beast. You can't buy or sell, saving you take that mark. And then again, we also look at this whole idea about boycotting Israel, but then again we have the scripture that speaks about in Psalm 83 that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. But before we get into that, let me just show you another interesting thing here that I thought was interesting, and that's when I pulled up boycott for images on Google, it's everywhere. You know, sometimes when you search a subject, you just get a couple of different pictures and different things kind of all in between there. Not in the case of Boycott Israel. It's Boycott Israel, Free Palestine, Boycott Israel, Made in Israel, blood splattered all over it, Keep Calm, Boycott Israel. All these companies here boycotting Israel. It's amazing. It is absolutely unprecedented, the boycott and the call for boycott. So I decided to do a little bit of checking to see, well, who all is behind some of these boycotts. Well, here's an interesting one. Vatican boycott of Israel's Holocaust Memorial Day inappropriate and insulting. This was pushed aside on another article there on the archive of the ADL.org website. Archbishop Antonio Franco, the Vatican's ambassador to Israel, has made the unprecedented announcement that he will boycott the April 16th memorial events at Yad Vashem. Israel's national memorial to the Holocaust in protest of a photo caption in an exhibit that seemingly charges Pope Pius XII with failing to save Jews during the Holocaust. Okay, well, you might call that free speech. It's not a monetary boycott, but let's just kind of continue on a little deeper into this, though. Psalms chapter 83, verse 3 through 6. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Who? The tabernacles of Edom and Ishmaelites and the Moab and the Hagarenes, and of course a few others, according to verse 6. They have said, come let us cut them off from being a nation. Now of course it does say in Psalms, which David wrote it, against thy people. Of course that's the Jewish people. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. We can also find this over in Isaiah chapter 7, where we find out that Ephraim is confederate with Syria. Nonetheless, no wonder why they want Syria back. They've not been very cooperative through Bashar al-Assad. But anyhow, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee, against Israel. Well, who? The tabernacles of Edom. The churches, okay? The tabernacles, that's both Vatican and other churches as well. All right, so it continues on. It doesn't get any better. Pope Francis in the Holy Land, a political pilgrimage. Nick Gray wrote this article here on the Commentator on May 27th of 2014. He states here, while statements from Rome have been encouraging an overall Christian-Jewish relations, at a local Mideastern level, church representatives have shown a wholehearted support for the anti-Israel BDS boycott, divestments, and sanctions movement. Now, I will give credit to the Catholic Church. There was one archbishop, I believe, who did cry out against the BDS movement. But watch what the article states here. The infamous 2009 Kairos document issued by Palestinian Christian leaders encourages Western churches to support boycotts against Israel and has spawned several national supportive Kairos organizations around the world. Watch what he says. This unbalanced and blatantly anti-Israel document was signed by the heads of all the branches of Catholicism in the region. That's pretty serious. And just also go back to the fact that when Pope Francis sent his video there to Kenneth Copeland, if you remember what we published about that there, he stated on there that he was like Joseph and that his brothers were getting awfully hungry. He stated they had money, you remember that. But he said, you know, they couldn't eat their money. And he said eventually they come down to buy food. Well, we know the rest of the story. The Pope goes on to say we all have currencies, currencies of our own nation, currencies of our own religious and historical backgrounds. I think he's making the point rather clear. As we know, he did meet with the head of YouTube and or Google, whichever it is. I know they're all kind of joined in together. And since that meeting, well, it seems like they're stepping up their effort right in lines with the Vatican's plan there to boycott anybody that is related or stands for Israel whatsoever. Regardless, we'll continue to stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live Show.